Ladies and gentlemen, there was a time in the not-so-recent past where Lady Gaga was a cultural icon. So profound was Lady Gaga's impact on pop culture that she inspired numerous clones. Already established artists at the time like Katy Perry even pivoted their musical style and look to emulate Gaga's art pop aesthetic. But when was the last time you even thought about Lady Gaga? Aside from her acting work, Lady Gaga's influence on pop culture has faded considerably. In this video, I would like to look back at when Lady Gaga made interesting, artful pop music that influenced the mainstream. And then I'd like to examine why Lady Gaga faded into the background. Stick around, this is Dancing with Ghosts. Remember the video for Bad Romance? I feel like it was the Smells Like Teen Spirit for the 2010s. There was pop music before that song, and then there was pop music after that song. The song was epic, artsy, and powerful. The video fit the song perfectly, implementing elements of sci-fi, drag, and fashion in this strange alien world. Lady Gaga herself seemed like an alien, a pop star from out of this world making an exciting new sound that nobody else was doing. This wasn't her first foray onto the music scene, however. Lady Gaga had released a previous album titled The Fame in 2008, which had some pretty heavy-hitting club bangers such as Just Dance, Poker Face, and Paparazzi. In fact, Lady Gaga had been cited by critics for reviving electronic dance music in the late 2000s. But Gaga's career and influence went stratospheric in 2009 when The Fame was reissued as The Fame Monster, an album that would go on to sell 15 million units worldwide. Technically an EP, The Fame Monster contained 8 new songs, one of them being Bad Romance. There was also a deluxe edition which included the new EP and all of the songs from the Fame album. And this was at a time when reissues, deluxe editions, and remastered editions were becoming ubiquitous in record stores as a last attempt to bolster sales of physical media. In fact, a long time ago, I did a video about this very phenomenon of record companies trying to entice you to buy CDs by repackaging them all in ridiculous ways. You can watch that video by clicking this card. The Fame Monster sold extremely well worldwide and went 5 times platinum in the United States. Pretty soon, many other pop stars shamelessly started biting off Lady Gaga's art pop style. Katy Perry started to get weird. Rihanna started to get weird. Christina Aguilera started to get weird. Gaga's influence reached all spectrums of the pop sphere with artists such as Beyonce, Teo Cruz, Nicki Minaj, Jason Derulo, and probably the biggest copycat, Kesha, all releasing club-oriented electronic dance hits. So when I say Lady Gaga's Bad Romance was the Smells Like Teen Spirits of the 2010s, you can see I do not make that statement lightly. Gaga did world tours and made many public appearances between 2009 leading up to her highly anticipated follow-up in 2011. I even remember fans losing their mind when she sang an a cappella teaser for her upcoming single Born This Way at an award acceptance speech. Finally, on May 23rd, 2011, Gaga's second full-length album, Born This Way, was released and quickly shot to #1 all over the world. This was largely due to the massive success of The Fame Monster. However, there were a few problems with Gaga's newest gift to the world. First, that album cover, though. The album cover depicted Lady Gaga as half woman, half motorcycle, and was mocked all over the internet. So much so that a new, more traditional album cover was used for the special edition. I mean, seriously though, what were they thinking with that? That is one of the worst album covers I've ever seen. In fact, I did yet another video on my channel of my picks for worst album covers of all time, and this album was definitely on the list. The second problem with the album was the eponymous lead single, Born This Way. This song spurned a great deal of controversy when fans and critics started pointing out noticeable comparisons between Lady Gaga's song and Madonna's 1989 hit Express Yourself. It seemed that for the first time, Lady Gaga wasn't innovating, but was in fact doing what many people had done to her, copy someone else's sound. And in my opinion, the song itself really wasn't that good to begin with. It felt generic and it sounded like something that I had already heard before. Probably because I already had heard it before via Madonna's Express Yourself. The music video was also very try-hard and pretty cringy at times.
This is the manifesto of Mother Monster.
She was trying to out weird herself, and it just ended up looking more like a parody than anything else. In fact, I could sum up this entire album as a fairly try-hard attempt to out-Gaga herself. She even had a song called Scheiße, where she attempts to speak German at the beginning, but it's mainly just gibberish. I actually Googled it. This album did have some notable singles, however, when she wasn't trying to be weird. Tracks such as You and I, Marry the Night, and Edge of Glory still relatively stand up, but for the most part, to me, Born This Way seemed like a decline in the Lady Gaga brand. The album still sold well, though, mainly due to Gaga's popularity from her first record and the lesser strength of the new album's singles. I feel like this was a turning point in Gaga's career. Whatever move she made next would either make or break her as the art pop innovator that she started out as. So what did she do after Born This Way? Well, she attempted to lean further into her art pop aesthetic and released an album called, wait for it, Artpop. Born This Way had massive hype behind it leading up to its release. Artpop did not. The album still sold well, though, because, well, Lady Gaga was still a pop star. But the cracks in her relevance had turned into massive crevices. I just said massive crevices, yeah, okay. The album only sold 1 million copies in the United States compared to the Fame Monster's 5 million. The singles off Artpop were weak as well. The first single, Applause, failed to make much of an impact, and I didn't hear anybody talking about it, let alone playing it. The next single, Do What You Want, was forgettable at the time, but now it is memorable for all the wrong reasons. Mainly because convicted sex offender R. Kelly was featured on the track. Now, granted, this was way before the world found out just how evil of a person R. Kelly is, but man, that's like having OJ drop a verse on the Chronic. Hindsight is a bitch. After R. Kelly's conviction, the feature was scrubbed from all streaming services, and a new version featuring Christina Aguilera, of all people, was recorded in its place. After the mixed reviews of Artpop and the controversies of Born This Way, Gaga went through a phase of depression where she doubted her own abilities as an artist. At this time, her management thought it would be wise to give Gaga the old image transformation. Yes, this age-old tactic has been around as long as there's been entertainment. An artist bursts onto the scene with an original look and sound, and they ride that wave for a few years. The general public grows indifferent, so the artist does a 180, changes their look, changes their sound, whatever. Sometimes it works, oftentimes it does not. 2016's Joanne saw a more rootsy, softened image of Lady Gaga. Even though there's still electronica throughout this album, it definitely airs more on the singer-songwriter side of things. Gaga wanted this album to be more focused on her voice and less on the theatrics. And it sold even less than Artpop. Around the time of Joanne, Lady Gaga tried her hand in acting when she was featured on the 5th season of American Horror Story, which was a very popular show at the time. Then, in 2018, Gaga's acting career really took off when she co-starred opposite Bradley Cooper in A Star Is Born. Gaga had contributed several songs that were featured in the movie. One of these songs, Shallow, went on to become one of her biggest hits of all time with over 2 billion streams on Spotify. This song flies in the face of everything Lady Gaga started out as. It's an acoustic ballad with actor Bradley Cooper singing backups. No weird outfits, no synthesizers, just a heartfelt stripped-down ballad. Go figure. Lady Gaga made a return to music with her next proper LP entitled Chromatica, which was released during one of the worst possible years one could possibly release new music, 2020. I barely heard any hype around this album at all. The lead single, Rain on Me, did well for a while, but I strongly believe the only reason that was the Ariana Grande feature. In fact, this was Gaga's most feature-heavy album to date, with contributions from Blackpink, Elton John, and the aforementioned Ariana Grande. But I guess those features didn't help because as of 2023, this album has yet to sell even 500,000 units worldwide. And when I say units, I am also including unit equivalent streams because yes, obviously people bought way more physical media in 2009 than they do now. No, the music industry is a shit show, and you're lucky if you even get signed by an indie label, let alone maintain a decades-long career of pop success and relevance. I'm not blaming Lady Gaga for anything or saying she's a bad artist. There was just a moment in time where all the stars aligned and we got something really cool for a few years, and then those same stars burned out. It's nearly impossible to come out of the gate as this eccentric pop star and have every album you put out be just as fresh and just as immediate as your last release. That's why when we talk about mega pop stars who have stood the test of time, you can count them on one hand. Madonna being one of them on that hand. But yeah, pop stars have a shelf life. Female pop stars have it even harder. Though arguably lately, all I've heard on the radio is female pop stars, so maybe things have gotten better? Either way, what are your thoughts on Lady Gaga? Do you even run into anyone who's like, dude, you gotta hear the newest Lady Gaga song? Because I know I don't. And before I go, just as a fun fact, at my karaoke gigs, the most requested Lady Gaga song by far is You and I off of her Born This Way album. So, I don't know. Do what you want with that. I'm Josh Cannon. Have a good rest of your night.